Life can definitely be stressful, and at times we are very uncertain, especially of everything that goes on. But I think there has to be that medium somewhere where you just learn to kind of enjoy the journey in the process. You know, it's now the second month of 2026, and I'm sure we all had goals and plans and things that we want to do for this year. And whether if you have achieved them or you haven't, or you're working your way towards them, there's something about it that comes from just enjoying the process of getting there and the journey itself. Sometimes we tend to put so much on trying to get there and finish that we don't sit back and actually reflect of how far we've come so far. And even with myself too, that's something that I've learned a lot. But you really just have to sit back and enjoy. Remind yourself of how far you've come and to understand that life isn't so bad. And sometimes even if we're going through stuff and things like that, it can make it seem like it's bad in the moment. But however, it could have been worse. And you've already grown so much since from before. You're probably a better person than you were, 2 to 5 years ago, or even 2 months ago. So it doesn't matter too much. And I know this is easier said than done because sometimes life can be very hard where all you can do is sulk and complain about it. But you have to find the way anyway to just think about it in a different way. And to remember about your situation, it's not always about that, it's about how you think about it. What's your mindset and mentality? Because in life, you're always going to go through things. I won't lie. Even if you end up fixing the one thing you're dealing with now, something else is going to end up happening. And it could end up being even worse. So it's kind of more so figuring out one, how to enjoy the journey anyway and deal with what's to come. And then also just making sure that when these situations do happen, that your mindset is still mentally strong. I remember I was talking to someone the other day, just kind of reminding them how, even though all these things happen in our lives, you kind of just have to still have that mental strength and fortitude inside your mind to keep going anyway, you know, to get past whatever issues you're dealing with and to still keep going on in life because life doesn't stop. Time doesn't stop. So anytime you spend more sulking on things in a negative way, it can really affect you because your mind is harping so much on it that you're not able to change. You're not able to grow and improve. And growth is always on the other side of uncomfortability. You have to always be there with it. They're the same. And it's always there. If you stay comfortable, you won't grow. You won't be able to get to the person that you need to be. You won't be able to find your right identity. And enjoying the journey is a part of that. Is making sure that on the way to the goal, you're accomplishing the small things that get you there. Whether that's something financially, whether that's a goal like getting good grades in school or going on a vacation, whatever it may be, all the small steps, you have to be able to take it step by step and day by day. Because if you don't, you're going to look too far out in the future to try to get there. You're going to reflect too much on the past and the past mistakes of why you weren't there already. And then you won't lock yourself in the present to make the changes that need to be done because you feel like they're not significant enough. And if you do that, that'll really push you in some ruin because our minds are just so conflicting with us sometimes, where they sometimes try to take the easy route from us or our bodies as well. And we have to find a way to get past it and say, no, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go to the gym 3 to 5 days a week, even though it's way nicer to sleep in and do nothing. I'm going to eat healthy. I'm going to do these things and get these goals that I want to achieve because this is what I set out to do. But you have to have the proper identity and be able to enjoy the journey along the way to get there because the journey is what makes it fun. And once you finish, of course, it'll be nice to finish things because you should want to finish things. But then once that is over, a new journey will then begin. And you'll be right back at the start of another journey. And that's what life is, taking multiple, many journeys over and over and over, whether that's physically, mentally, spiritually, whatever it may be. You're always going to be setting out on journeys, and I think about that a lot too. Picture yourself like a sailor who's on a boat. He's going to multiple different places in his journey, and he's dealing with tidal waves, he's dealing with the storms that come, he's dealing with possibly never going back to his homeland. And he still goes out anyway because that's the mindset and mentality that you need. I remember I watched a video the other day talking about what it takes to be successful and how success can kind of really be either one, you're trying to become this person who's successful, But also, there's a version of success where you are that person because you genuinely enjoy it. It's one thing to just be a successful person because you're trying to create this persona. It's another thing to be successful because you actually enjoy and love the thing that you're doing. Let's say you're trying to be the best basketball player in the world. It's hard to be the best basketball player in the world if you don't love basketball. And I feel like that's the same way in our lives. If we don't really love something, you won't be able to do it. I've thought about that a lot too, even with YouTube and starting YouTube. There's always different ideas that I've tried to start and think, but it's more so like, what do I genuinely love? And what do I want to achieve? And as the years goes on, I've been able to kind of cipher it down a bit. Obviously, your love can change as the years goes on, but it's also important to just know why you started in the first place and what made you want to start. And if you find that out and figure things out, I think you'll be totally fine. But enjoy the journey, enjoy the process, because that is what really matters.